What up guys, SuperMetal983 here bringing you another album review, and this time I've got another progressive metalcore release for you to check out, and surprise surprise, it's another release through Long Branch Records. It's due to drop May 10th, but by the time this video goes up it'll already be out, so make sure you check it out. But I'm going to be reviewing the debut album from the band Borders entitled Purify, and as I said, this is released under Long Branch Records. Now, Borders I've been following for quite a few years now, ever since I checked out their debut EP, which I've got right here, which is called All This Time I've Spent, which is this one right here. It's just a little slipcase sort of thing right here. But yeah, this is where I checked them out, and this is an absolutely fantastic EP, regular listen on my playlist and stuff. But yeah, if you haven't checked out this EP, make sure you do so. It's absolutely fantastic. But that was back, actually, I flew it away. I can't remember when this came out exactly, but yeah, this was my first inception to the band, really. And then in 2017, we got a new EP from the band, armed with a new vocalist, and this EP is called Diagnosed, which is this one right here. And this one upped their game a lot more, if you ask me. I absolutely love that EP, but this one is, in my opinion, better than that one. And this one is another regular to me playlist, so if you haven't checked out this EP, make sure you do so. It's absolutely fantastic. If you're into progressive metalcore, you'll find something to love about this, even if you're into your just basic metalcore. So yeah, make sure you check out both those releases. But the band signed to Long Branch Records and to release their debut album entitled Purify. It's 10 tracks and runs around, let's say, 34 minutes in length. And I can honestly say that 2019 has been a wash with some absolute quality progressive metalcore releases so far this year, from the likes of From Sorrow to Serenity and Ghost Iris, both being released under Long Branch Records. But those two releases in particular have been standouts in the genre, if you ask me, but I've checked out more than that, as you can imagine. But Borders, I'd have to say, has joined the ranks as being some of the top tier quality metalcore that we have heard in 2019 so far. This is an absolutely exquisite, punchy, powerful release that you all really need to hear. I absolutely love this album. This has really blown me away since I first heard it, and I contacted the guys not too long ago, asking them if they wanted us to do a review on this album, and they hooked me up with a promotional copy, so thanks guys, I really appreciate it. And I've been listening to this album all the more since I got that promo, and it's become one of my favourite releases at the moment, I have to say. I absolutely love all the elements that is combining on this album. It puts us in mind a lot of Ghost Iris's release. That's still very genty sort of vibe on there, with a lot of groove, a lot of intensity in there. But as I've said in that review, that I feel like the gent genre is starting to thicken up. Not as in with the amount of bands, but the tone itself. Like, I remember when I first heard Purify's self-titled album, and even their second album, that it was very percussive sounding, whereas this still has some elements of the percussive sound in there, but in my opinion this takes on a lot more of a thicker, more chunkier, straight up metalcore sort of tone that really puts us in mind of Bury Tomorrow's later albums, if you ask me. That really thick, chunky metalcore sound, but it still doesn't lose any of the edge or the percussive nature in the progressive metalcore sort of sound, but it still has that genty sort of vibe, but it's not something that you could go gent and just turn away from. This is something that you can really dwell yourself into and really enjoy every element, because there are some sick elements of really sick riffs on here and some really pummeling heavy breakdowns on here that, as I said in the Ghost Iris review as well, that had a lot of heavy breakdowns, and this one definitely follows suit, if you ask me. And I definitely feel like this release definitely amps up the Border sound that little bit more. I feel like the first release was definitely a stereotypical genty sort of vibes on there, but this has definitely explored a lot more into straight up metalcore and gone for a more heavier aspect to the songwriting, but it still holds that intensity, that melodic, silhouettic sort of vibe in there that really creates some really positive, more gritty atmosphere. It's really like a really unique combination of grit and melodicness in there that really blows me away, if you ask me. So I definitely say, if you want a thick, beefy version of, let's say, what's the band? Heart of a Coward, for example, that sort of beefy progressive metalcore, then this is definitely a release for you. I can't remember the tracks that they've released so far. I didn't look before I do this review. I know, very prepared, but I'm honestly here to just talk about the album. But starting off with the first song, 731, when I first heard that song before I got this promo, I was massively impressed with that. I was like, this is a new awakening. You could say, in other words, a bit of a rebirth for Borders and becoming a more heavier aspect in the metalcore circuit in the UK, if you ask me. And this album will definitely do so, especially if you've heard that song, you know what I mean, exactly. Another song, Wake Up, is another absolutely fantastic banger of a song. And there's one other element that I would like to talk about on this album that really surprised me a little bit, and there's a little bit of an influence. This may come as an insult to them, and I deeply apologise if that is so. I don't mean to do that, it's just the vibes that I get. But I definitely detect a bit of a hacktivist and Attila sort of vibe with the vocals, definitely given a bit of a new metal sort of vibe on here. It's not like a new metalcore sort of album, because that's far from what this is, but it definitely gives it that new metal sort of vibe that I really enjoy. I love me new metal. You know what it is, I love me new metal, but it definitely gives it that sort of vibe, and I think it's on the song Damage Everything, I think it's called. I can't remember the other song that it features on, but I'm sure it's Damage Everything, that really has that really unique factor to it, and it really breaks it up and gives it a new lease of life, in all honesty. It really gives it that infectiously catchy vibes. Like, I'm guilty to be listening to a bit of Attila, I'm not gonna lie, but it definitely gives off that sort of vibe. But I really think it's a really unique factor and sets it out. It breaks it off from the Ghost Iris album and definitely gives it a different take in the progressive metalcore sort of vibe, if you ask me. Another great song on this album is the fourth and fifth track, Bad Blood and War. Those two tracks are definitely anthems on this album, but they still lose this album from beginning to end just doesn't lose any intensity. It doesn't let off. It's just literal grooves, left, right, and centre, punchy breakdowns, punchy riffs, and soaring melodies. What more can you want? And that percussive factor that we love to hear in the genty sort of tone. Like, don't let that put you off in any shape or form. Demon's Reach, another absolutely fantastic song. Nothing. In fact, all the songs on this album definitely scream out absolute pure quality. If you ask me, with that thick, beefy guitar tone, the rich vocals in there, they are definitely a rich sense behind these vocals. If you ask me, like, from the harsher vocals creating so much intensity and animosity and emotion in there, from the powerful, cleaner vocals that are on here, to like the spoken word kind of rappy sort of new metal influenced vocals that really just make this album just so cohesive and very enjoyable to listen to. This is just a fun, enjoyable album, and I'm looking for that a lot more this year. I'm looking for quality, obviously, which this album takes it bar none, but this album definitely screams out a lot more quality, a lot more fun. It's just such a fun, enjoyable album to listen to, and progressive metalcore is quite technical in honesty, but this is just a fun, bouncy, enjoyable, fun-filled ride, and it's something you really need to enjoy, if you ask me, and some really catchy lyrics on top of that. But as I said, the drum work, I didn't say it, but oh well, but the drum work is absolutely fantastic on this album, creating some really sensational grooves and making you get the pigeon bops going, you know, that sort of vibe that you have to get that groove sensation in there, get feeling it and get, you know, two-stepping and all that shit, even though I don't do that shit, but, you know, it gets you in the mind and vibes to do that sort of thing, you know how it is. But anyway, but then the bass tone and the guitar tone is very thick and chunky sound, and it really creates a real heaviness and massiveness behind it. It's a massive, loud sounding album, and you definitely need to pump your volume up to hear some to get right into it and just two-step in your room for all I care. It's absolutely fantastic to hear, and I definitely think Borders have executed an absolute fine album right here. If you're a fan of, as I said, Heart of a Coward, Purify, Ghost Iris, or Buried Tomorrow, you'll find something to love about this album. It's absolutely enjoyable, fantastic to listen to, and definitely one of my favourite progressive metalcore releases. Is it as good as Ghost Iris? I'm not sure. I honestly put these three locked in together. I think Ghost Iris, From Sorrow to Serenity, and Borders are just killing it, if you ask me, with the progressive metalcore that I've heard so far in 2019. If there's any other progressive metalcore releases that you may have think that I may have missed or haven't reviewed or whatever on this channel, let us know down below. And yes, I have heard the new Purify. It is fantastic, I might as well add. But anyway, this is an absolutely fantastic album. Make sure you check out Borders with Purify, their debut album, and it is absolutely fantastic. One of the best metalcore releases of 2019 so far, and I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10. Definitely something you need to hear in 2019. It is an absolutely fantastic album. Check out the song 7321, Damage Everything, War, Demon's Reach, A World Apart. Just check out this full album. It's absolutely fantastic and one of the best of 2019. And make sure you check out my other reviews for Ghost Iris and From Sorrow to Serenity. And check out Long Branch Records if you haven't had the chance to. You will not be disappointed. And I'll see you until next video. And remember, stay metal. And I'll see you later.